At the break of dawn, this World War II campsite stands eerily silent. Canvas tents lie open near an abandoned supply post. Footsteps trail across the sand, then stop abruptly. Torn fabric flutters weakly in the wind. The emptiness feels unnatural, as if an entire group vanished mid-stride. The desert offers no clues, only metal tools and shredded fabric lie half-covered by drifting sand. Each object hints at daily military life suddenly interrupted. The morning light reveals fine details, corrosion, dust, wear evidence that these items were left behind, not misplaced. Something here ended abruptly. From a distance, the outpost looks deserted. Crates overturned, barrels scattered, canvas sheets stirring in the dry wind. The soft light masks nothing. The camp was left in disorder. Whatever happened here, it wasn't planned. The silence carries the weight of an untold story. A faint trail of disturbed sand leads toward the open desert, growing weaker until it fades into untouched dunes. No footprints, no gear, just a fading path swallowed by the landscape. It's as if the desert itself consumed its travelers, leaving only a question. Where did they go? Stretching endlessly toward the horizon, the North African desert formed one of World War II's most unforgiving battlefields. Beneath the soft haze and shifting dunes, armies moved like shadows across a landscape that seemed unchanged for centuries. In this vast silence, entire divisions could vanish without leaving a trace. Far in the distance, a convoy of supply trucks crawls across the desert, trailing thin lines of dust. No figures can be seen, only the silhouettes of vehicles laboring through heat and isolation. These lifelines kept frontline units alive, yet in the vast expanse, even a full convoy could disappear from sight within minutes. The desert floor cracks under relentless heat, its surface shaped by drifting sand and mirage waves that distort everything in sight. This harsh environment challenged every soldier who crossed it. Equipment failed, bearings warped, and navigation became guesswork in a world where the sun erased all sense of direction. At what was once a forward operations area, crates, jerry cans, and canvas coverings lie abandoned in the sand. No voices, no movement, only the wind passing through remnants of hurried preparations. These scattered objects tell of soldiers who once waited here, and who may have left far more suddenly than expected. Half buried in the scorching sand, a rusted metal barrel stands alone, casting a long, stark shadow. It is a silent reminder of how swiftly the desert consumes what humans leave behind. Objects endure, yet the people who placed them here often vanish into the dunes, leaving only questions in their wake. A line of fresh military footprints stretches across the desert, carved into the sand at sunrise. They march steadily toward the distant dunes before fading into the light. No soldiers remain, only the evidence of a unit on the move, leaving behind a silent path that suggests purpose and an uncertain destination. Scattered gear marks and shallow boot impressions cut across the open terrain, mingling with faint tire tracks. Under the bright desert sky, these signs reveal a column that had advanced together. Yet the scene feels unsettling, order dissolving into disorder, as if something interrupted the march before it reached its goal. Here the desert begins to reclaim what was left behind. Drag marks and footprints blur into soft patterns as the wind sweeps over them. The trail weakens, each clue fading under the morning sun. It is as though the environment itself works to obscure the unit's passage, erasing the final hints of where they went. An empty staging area remains, open crates, canvas sheets, and water tins scattered in quiet disarray. Dust drifts across the ground where soldiers once prepared for movement. Now the scene carries only absence. Whatever compelled them to leave did so quickly, and without time to recover even the simplest of supplies. A distant line of footprints stretches toward blinding sunlight, each step leading deeper into the dunes until the marks vanish entirely. No figures appear, only a path dissolving into emptiness. It feels symbolic, as if this final trail captures the very moment before the unit slipped beyond all visibility and into mystery. A lone reconnaissance aircraft sweeps low across the desert, casting long shadows over the dunes. From above, the landscape stretches endlessly, yet nothing breaks the surface. No movement, no debris, no trace of a marching unit. Even from this privileged vantage point, the desert reveals nothing of what happened below. On the ground, search teams left behind only tools of investigation: binoculars, a folded map, a compass set in the sand. Wind spirals around them, erasing any hint of recent activity. These objects suggest a methodical search, yet their abandonment tells a different story. Whatever was sought remained unfound. Here, the desert appears untouched, vast, smooth dunes stretching in all directions under the harsh midday sun. There are no footprints, no tire marks, no shadow of a trail. It is as if the landscape has reset itself completely, erasing any possibility that dozens of soldiers once passed through this very place. A field radio sits on a canvas sheet, its antenna fully extended, but the air around it is still no signals, no static, no distant voices fighting through interference. In a conflict defined by communication, this silence is heavy. It suggests not a malfunction, but an absence on the other end. The desert opens into a sweeping panorama, soft haze drifting across endless dunes. Nothing stirs. No movement, no shapes, no sign of human presence. The vast emptiness feels almost intentional, as if the land itself has concealed the truth. Whatever happened here has left no trace for others to follow. A towering sandstorm rises like a dark wall across the open desert, swallowing the horizon as it advances. Dust spirals upward, turning daylight into an eerie twilight. In these moments, visibility drops to nothing, and even entire battalions could vanish behind the shifting veil, lost to forces far beyond human control. As the storm intensifies, canvas packs and metal containers begin to disappear beneath waves of blowing sand. The wind pushes relentlessly, erasing outlines and burying objects where they lie. What the soldiers carried is overtaken in minutes, hinting at how quickly any trace of their presence could be wiped from existence. From a distance, the sandstorm stretches across the landscape like a colossal curtain, blocking out the sun and plunging the desert into shadow. The scale is overwhelming nature, asserting its dominance with brutal efficiency. In such conditions, even experienced units could lose orientation and never re-emerge. When the winds finally die, the landscape is transformed. Dunes lie reshaped into unfamiliar patterns, and equipment is barely visible beneath fresh layers of sand. A calm stillness hangs in the air, but it carries an unsettling weight, the sense that whatever happened here has now been buried beyond reach. A lone military crate, almost entirely buried except for one exposed corner, sits beneath soft light filtering through retreating storm clouds. It is a quiet symbol of disappearance, of how the desert consumes not just objects, but stories, movements, and lives. What remains is only a trace, and countless unanswered questions. The desert shimmers under extreme heat, bending the horizon into wavering lines. Distant shapes twist and blur, making even familiar landmarks appear foreign. In these conditions, perception becomes unreliable. What looks like a ridge, a vehicle, or a human figure might be nothing more than a mirage, another illusion in a landscape that resists clarity. An old brass compass lies on the sand, its needle drifting off true north. Sunlight flickers across its surface, while heat distortions ripple behind it. In the desert, magnetic interference is rare, but disorientation is not. This failing compass becomes more than a tool. It is a symbol of how easily direction can be lost when the environment itself warps reality. A faint line of boot impressions winds through the sand, but something is wrong. The trail curves unnaturally, veering off in directions no trained unit would intentionally follow. Heat glare consumes the last visible prints, making the path vanish. It suggests a group gradually pulled off course, not by choice but by disorientation. A weather-beaten signpost stands half-buried, its arrows twisted and misaligned. Under the harsh sun, it offers no reliable guidance, only contradiction. Whether bent by storms or simply worn by time, it echoes a larger truth. In this desert, direction is fragile. Even the tools meant to guide can mislead. The dunes stretch out beneath shimmering waves of heat, the air itself trembling above the sand. Distant forms dissolve into haze, giving the landscape a surreal, dreamlike quality. It is a quiet yet overwhelming emptiness, the kind of environment where even well-prepared units can lose their bearings and vanish entirely. Scattered equipment rests gently on the sand, canteens, packs, tools, none showing damage or signs of a fight. The placement feels deliberate, almost careful, as if the soldiers set them down rather than drop them in panic. In a war defined by chaos, this quiet arrangement deepens the mystery of why an entire unit would leave so calmly and not return. Nearby, military crates and canvas bags lie partially covered by drifting sand. Their condition suggests abandonment, not destruction. No footprints remain, no drag marks, only the slow work of time and wind. These objects hint at a halt in movement, a moment where the unit paused, and somehow never resumed their march. This wide clearing bears faint impressions of tires and gear, enough to suggest organized military presence. Yet there are no shell casings, no blast marks, no signs of confrontation. Whatever happened here, it did not involve a battle. Instead, the traces feel like preparation or anticipation interrupted before anything could unfold. Two different types of supplies lie side by side in the sand, their origins clearly not the same. It is a subtle but intriguing clue. At some point, two groups may have crossed paths here. Whether it was cooperation, confusion, or something more ominous, the evidence hints at a brief encounter, now lost to time. A narrow, rocky pass stretches ahead, shadows pooling between steep dunes. It is the kind of natural terrain armies fear ideal for an ambush. Yet the area is completely empty, untouched, silent. If conflict was expected here, it never occurred. But the unsettling question remains. Did the missing unit believe someone was waiting for them in this very place? Faint vehicle tracks stretch across the desert, but each passing meter shows the marks growing weaker as drifting sand slowly consumes them. Under the warm afternoon light, the trail feels fragile, an almost vanished reminder of movement. Whatever vehicle passed here left only the faintest fingerprint before being swallowed by the dunes. A shallow drag mark cuts a line through the sand, long and wavering, yet already fading as the dunes shift. It hints at something once towed or pulled across this ground, a burden, an object, perhaps even a person. But now the wind erases its meaning, leaving only a suggestion of a journey that ended without explanation. A metal canteen, a crumpled map, and a torn canvas strap lie together half buried in the sand. These are not discarded supplies, but personal objects, items soldiers keep close. Their presence here, untouched and aligned by chance, raises unsettling questions. Why were they left behind? And what happened to the hands that carried them? Two sets of tracks continue toward the dunes, one clear and orderly, the other nearly erased. The contrast suggests movement with intention and movement without control. It evokes the haunting possibility that one path belonged to those who walked freely, while the other hints at someone being led or taken against their will. The final marks in the sand end abruptly at the base of a tall dune. Beyond this point, the surface is smooth, untouched, offering no continuation of the trail. In the golden light of sunset, the abrupt ending feels deliberate, like a story cut short. Whatever happened next left no trace at all. The valley ahead is marked by swirling wind patterns carved into the sand, as if shaped by forces far stronger than the usual desert breeze. Deep shadows stretch between the dunes, giving the landscape an eerie geometry. It feels like a place where movement changes direction, where orientation falters, and where trails are easily distorted or lost. At the center of the dune field lies a smooth, circular depression, an area where tracks do not continue, but simply vanish. Footprints that lead directly into it disappear without scattering outward. Under the soft light, the scene feels symbolic, almost deliberate, as if the desert itself consumes what enters this space. Nearby, sunlight reflects off the sand in a concentrated, shimmering pattern, too focused to be a normal mirage. The surface appears to ripple, distorting the view like heat haze gathered into a single point. For search teams, this kind of visual anomaly can mislead direction, making it difficult to judge distance, movement, or danger. A twisted natural arch rises from the desert floor, its silhouette harsh and angular in the setting sun. Long shadows stretch across the sand, creating an ominous corridor of darkness. Formations like these, sculpted by centuries of wind erosion, can disorient travelers and hold on to echoes of whatever passed beneath them. Between two towering dunes lies a narrow hollow filled with unnaturally smooth sand, untouched by wind or footprints. The dramatic low-angle light adds a sense of quiet tension, as if the place itself were a silent trap. It is a landscape that seems designed to hide things, not reveal them. As the sun sinks behind the desert dunes, long shadows stretch across the sand like markers of passing time. The landscape grows quiet and reflective, bathed in warm, fading light. In this stillness, the desert feels eternal and different to the movements, struggles, and mysteries of those who once crossed its surface. In the sand lies a half-buried metal ID tag, its edges glowing softly in the evening light. It is a small but powerful reminder of the individuals behind the vanished unit soldiers with names, histories, and families. Now, this fragment remains as one of the few tangible clues to a story the desert has tried to erase. A canvas pouch and metal clasp lie partially covered by drifting grains, slowly disappearing as the wind continues its work. These simple objects speak to everyday military life routine, discipline, movement. Yet here they represent the quiet fading of a presence once strong, now surrendered to the shifting sands. A faint line of marks stretches toward the glowing horizon, weakening with every step until it disappears completely. It feels symbolic, an echo of a journey unfinished, a path cut short. The desert offers no resolution, only the stark reality that some stories end without leaving answers behind. As twilight deepens, the dunes remain smooth and untouched, silent beneath the vast sky. Whatever unfolded here has been absorbed into the landscape, hidden beyond recovery. The desert reveals little, remembers little, and guards its secrets well. And so the fate of the missing unit remains, lost to time and sand. If you found this story compelling, consider subscribing and leaving a like. Your support helps us continue uncovering forgotten chapters of history.